You're listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
But typically what will happen is I'll have a guest in, right? And then we start shooting the shit. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden we've had 30 minutes conversation that was really good.
But it wasn't.
And it wasn't recorded. Oh. So that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm here with Eddie Vera, right?
Vera, yes.
Of Kairos. You're the CEO and founder of Kairos Athletic Wear?
Just Kairos.
Oh, Kairos?
Itself. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about you, man. What's your little back history and what's going on with you?
Well, thanks for having me for the most part on here on this podcast. You know, I'm grateful, honored to be here. But a little bit about myself. I'm 28 years old, born and raised here in San Antonio, Texas. I grew up in one of the disadvantaged economic areas, 78207 zip code. Mm-hmm. So, you know, as you can see or think, you know, it wasn't much there.
What side of town is that?
That's like the inner city, west side.
Inner city, okay.
So, you know, with that being said, you know, just a lot of people, as far income-wise, are in that poverty level. And just a lot of things that, you know, you wouldn't want in an environment state area, you know. Yeah. So I grew up in that for, you know, since I was born. I grew up in the San Juan Courts projects, you know, and it wasn't, you know, very kid friendly, you know, to say. But nonetheless, man, God was holding me through the whole journey of that. And here I am today, you know, with of this dream I had 2 years ago, Kairos, at one time at a church I was going to, and I still go to.
What's the name of that church?
It was a community Bible church.
Okay.
CBC, you know, it's pretty known here in San Antonio. And ever since then, I was like, man, you know, like I want that word itself to flourish and show people that if they seize their Kairos moment, you know, all their dreams and their blessings come true, you know. So
when I first talked to you about it a little bit, I didn't know what Kairos was. So explain what Kairos is to people.
So Kairos itself the origin is Greek. It means in definition an opportune of time. So it's a critical moment, a very divine moment where, you know, God intervenes and that's your time to take action. So when opportunity comes, it's like, wow, I've been praying for this or wishing, dreaming, or hoping I can get that opportunity. Well, that's your opportunity of time to take action. So when you do, it's like, wow, like it's finally here. You know, all the hard work or, you know, all the preparation to that moment is your Kairos moment, you know?
Gotcha.
So it's very complex, but, you know, to make it simple, it's like you prepping for your, you know, a show or any meet or anything you're working hard on, you know, and that finally that glorious moment comes. It's like, wow, like that was your moment, and you know, that turning moment that happened, you know, and it's like, wow, okay, it all worked out for the good, you know. So,
you know, sometimes I wonder, and maybe I worry a little too much about certain things, but it's kind of like, there's times where I think me and people in general will get to a point where, you know, we're aspiring for something and we have faith and we're praying for those things, and there comes, it seems like God gives you, like you said, it's His timing, right?
Yes.
And we're not always prepared for His timing, you know.
Yeah.
We tend to want to lose not necessarily lose faith in God, but maybe lose faith in our goal or what we're aspiring to.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm always concerned that I've missed my Kairos moment.
Yeah.
You know,
man.
So how do you? I mean, I don't know that you know the answer, but you know, how can a person recognize that? You know, because after a while you start to get short-sighted and you just go, well,
yeah,
you know, I don't really, it's not going to happen for me. And then all of a sudden, you know, in hindsight is when you go, man, I think I missed it. You know,
yeah.
I think I had it and I think I missed it. You know, how do you recognize your Kairos moment?
That's a good question, man. I feel like, you know, if you're doing your diligent work of like, you know, setting yourself up for success, you know, in that sense, then you're gonna feel that vibration getting closer to that moment, But if you're not, like, if you're, saying like, well, all good things come to those who wait, right? Well, true, but it's like you got to go out there and go get it too. And the only way to go get it is by, okay, well, let me have a system, a plan down. So if I do that, it's like, okay, well, God's leading me to do all this. And it's like, sometimes as humans, we rush it on our timing, but it always falls apart. And then we, get depressed or get down or feel we're not enough or capable, or we don't have the potential. But when little do we know, we have all the potential in the world to conquer anything and to do anything we put our mind to. With God, all things are possible,
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's just a day-to-day basis of just doing the work to, laying the brick after brick, and realize it'll come to life. But you just gotta, like, I like to take it day by day, so.
It's funny that you said that, because it's like there's a double-edged sword there. There's the saying, that good things come to those who wait, but then there's the God helps those who helps themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Amen, brother. Yeah.
So it's difficult, because I think a lot of people go, hey, I have faith, and I'm gonna put my faith in God, and I'm gonna wait for God to deliver my goal or my dream or what I'm aspiring to or what I'm hoping for.
That's right. Yeah.
But they haven't put in the legwork.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of that. Especially
we all
when I
fall
was younger.
short. We're human, and it's just gonna happen. But as long as we get back up and realize, like, fall 7, get back up 8, and realize that it's being persistent, and if it's in your heart and it's meant to be, then then don't even worry. Like, this is your journey, and it's you're gonna have in this thing called life a lot of up and downs,
Yeah.
So as long as you stay hard, stay strong on what you're striving for, and God will make it happen,
Yeah, it's funny, because, like, I always joke around that for being fat and unattractive, I have way too much self-esteem. But every now and then I feel like God reminds me I'm not in control.
Yeah.
And it's funny, because I think it's in our human nature.
That's right.
To want to control things.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not in control. And God always teaches us lessons, and we don't realize we're being taught the lesson until the lesson's done, and we can kind of have hindsight, right? We look back and we go, oh, I learned something from that. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate that, my goals are a point of reference, right? It's a spot on the horizon that I can walk to. But it's the walk that is actually the benefit.
Yeah.
It's the journey that's actually making me grow.
That's the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out that, maybe it's not getting to your end game.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the journey to your end game that you needed.
Yes.
You wanted the end game.
Yeah.
But you needed the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, because I think once we can kind of visualize and see that and understand that journey is what's making us mature, making us grow, and making us become a better human being. Once we get to our goal, oftentimes we find out that, hey, this may not be my goal.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more.
Yeah.
Maybe now everything that I've learned and everything I've grown from and everything this evolution that I've changed into, I have different goals now.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what keeps life interesting. I think a lot of people that suffer from depression, and I think everybody gets blue, and I know I do. And I'm very strange in the sense that sometimes I like being sad. Like there's some comfort in it.
Yeah.
I get to be alone. I get to, be in my thoughts.
You find out who you really are at those times.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate in a sense that I know people who will go through that experience and won't get out of it without help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been lucky enough that every time I do get into that, I get out of it on my own. And a part of that is just me being obnoxious in the person that I am. Mm-hmm. But every now and then it's like I need that so then I can appreciate the good stuff, and it's not a good place to stay in, but like I said, it really kind of pushes you to say, okay, well, now that I'm here, now that I've achieved what I thought I wanted, let me go on to the next thing. And I think that's what people who sometimes get in a rut or sometimes get a little depressed with life, they're missing that, hey, what's my next achievement?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is to tell somebody what to look for in a goal,
Yeah.
What do you do when you're setting your goals?
I mean, I talk to the Lord, man. I try to get closer with Him. Try to see what His will for me is, and I'm going through a lot myself right now personally too, and I'm trying to find that next thing, as such you say too, while I'm still doing Kairos. But nonetheless, man, I mean, to step up on above ground is just another blessing, and that I have another chance to get right, to do right, and to be better for me and, the people that are behind me, family, friends, things like that. And, it's like, what more do I need than that, and it's like, we don't see it at that times, when we take that we take that for granted. And I'm just, sometimes just being solitaire by myself and finding who I am and how can I get better. And, and maybe, this is my season for the time being until, God's maybe trying to show me something in this moment. And I'm not, I'm fighting, wrestling with Him or something, and it's like, like, Eddie, you cannot move up if you're not doing this, and this, X, Y, and Z, So, and that's the whole thing with, the preparation, how focused or how, disciplined are you on your preparation that it'll get you to that Kairos moment, So
yeah. I see you on Instagram mostly and Facebook and other things. And I see you helping and promoting other people and being positive. And, I was telling my wife, we got a mutual friend, in, remind me.
Fredericksburg?
No,
New Braunfels.
New Braunfels.
That's right.
Damn.
Louis
Monica. I just slipped my mind. But Louis is a good guy, man. He told me, he said, hey, I got a brother and you need to talk to him. And he's got a good story. and hearing that come from Louis is a good dude.
Oh,
And then started following you and watching you promote yourself and promote other people. And I think that's one thing that I really like seeing is the positivity, because people need that positivity.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of garbage on the internet, man. A ton of garbage, and it's nice when somebody can put a good foot forward all the time. It's hard to, and I'm sure, like you said earlier, you're going through your own things.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're pushing the good stuff, man.
Yeah.
And I think part of what helps us be better people is helping others, and by putting good stuff out there, really is helping others.
Yeah.
They may not tell you about it, you may not hear about it.
Yeah, but someone's always watching, man.
They're always watching, man.
Yeah,
they're always watching.
But I do that because it's like I know what it feels to be at the bottom and to be surrounded by negativity, and I just realized, okay, well, I know what it feels like. I know the environment, I know the people, the behaviors and things like that. So what happens if I actually try to be positive and do the complete opposite of that and see how my life comes out, which it'll be positive, and it'll be rough, but knowing if I keep those spirits high, it's like, wow, I can give those people hope, or I can give them, if I accomplish my goals and dreams, that it'll make them want to keep fighting, because maybe, see my posts or whatever the case, gives them more life to want to keep trying, or maybe they can relate in a nearby area that I grew up in, or same schools or something, or we came across working together or working out, weightlifting, things like that, So I just, I just like to, if you're going to spread something, make sure it's positivity and love, So
yeah. What do you think? What do you think have been some of the negative things that have pushed you in this direction in your past?
I mean, just how I came up, I was raised by a single mom. Even at that, I didn't really have her because she was out working, just trying to take care of me and everyone else in the household. And then back then, at that time we were in Section 8. So it was like, you know, we were grateful for that, and you know, for whatever we were given, but it's like, you know, we were still like kind of being below end meets and things like that. So it was just hard, and I felt it at a very young age, and you know, knowing that she was never really there in the sense of like being that parent in love. It was just like I was trying to find it in other places, you know, and some of it were lead to just gangs, you know, drugs, things like that, and you know, so I learned to use that as pain, the pain I may have, and use it for strength, you know, and staying away from trouble, or playing basketball and things like that, you know. And while I could be doing that, it kept me focused. And I had a uncle, which was like a brother to me, and he was very affiliated deep in the gangs too. And but he had passed away when I was 15, turning 16. He had overdosed on heroin. So, you know, and I was the last person to see him before he closed that door. But when he closed that door, he was like hesitant, like he wasn't fully closing all the way. Like, you know how you just go about your day?
Yeah.
Like he was holding it for a while. Like if he was like thinking, you know? And like if he knew what he was going to do, and he didn't say nothing. He just left, and next morning cops were banging, and you know, my grandma, I was with my grandma at the time, and she was like, "Hey Eddie, wake up, you know, Mijo, get up." And you know, I knew it was not something, it wasn't good, you know. And you know, find out it was him, and he had, you know, took his life away, and he was with some whatever so-called friends or whatever. And you know, all I can, you know, they said their side of the story, but you know, I just, you know, it is what it is. And it was tough, you know.
Have you always had that religious background, or God in your life? Or
yeah,
was it something you developed older as you
I
got
think
older?
I did as a kid, man. I just didn't know it was religious or spiritual, but I always had that chip on my shoulder, you know, like when I would go, like I said, you know, with my mom or my stepdad at the time, you know, when no one would want to take me to school or anything like that, like, you know, okay, well, I'll walk, you know, and it's not that far, you know, or even if it was far, I didn't mind walking, you know. And like, man, I'm gonna be great one day, you know. I'm gonna do something with myself, and you know, make it happen, you know, whether how long it takes, you know, knowing I still did it and we made it, that's all that counts. But knowing I had that it was the Holy Spirit just talking to me, you know, and I just felt like it was bigger than me, you know. And it was at a young age, man. I would say like 5, 6, around that time. And I'll be walking through the valleys and the valleys in the courts, you know, how they have all the splits of the houses, and and then like us kids, we were playing wall ball or something in there and stuff. But other than that, man, it was at a young age. And then I eventually, as I grew older, I even would take like 2 buses and stuff to go to church, and then obviously take the buses back. And that was probably like around like, well, when I got baptized, when I transitioned into being a Christian back in 2011. And I was going to South Memorial Christian Church right there in the south side, and right there off of Military in South Flores. It's like by a baseball park and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Good people there, you know, shout out to them. But that's, you know, and since then, man, you know, I've been wise, but you know, I've been still learning the word, and always, you know, I'm always growing in that sense too, you know. But I always had that spiritual vibration around me too, you know. So
That's a blessing, man. You know, it's one thing for a young person, or you at 5 or 6 as a kid, to go, I don't want this life.
Yeah.
You know, it's another thing. Well, it's one thing to recognize it, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's another thing to understand that you don't want to live a certain way, and then it's another thing to actually do something about it, because that's where usually people stop, right?
Yeah.
People usually recognize a problem, they understand what side of the problem they want to be on, and then they stop. You know, it's probably less rare than I think it is, but it's pretty rare when somebody goes, okay, now I'm going to do the work. You know, and that's, I think, what probably separates you from a lot of people, is doing the work, because there's commitment there. You know, But in doing the work, you're benefiting other people, and I'm sure other people in your family.
Yeah.
You know, were you ever involved in gangs? You said.
Yeah, I was. I would hang around, chill, and do dumb things with them. But I was like, man, it gets old.
Yeah.
Like it was just a dead end. And I was like, I need to just get out, stop hanging with them, whether it's playing ball too with them. And I was like, I know I know it's not gonna look good at the end of the road on this, you know. And some make it out alive, some don't. But I rather take my chances and just be out of that,
Yeah.
And just and here I am, blessed and alive, man, and making it,
Yeah.
So.
No, that's good. Did you ever have any issue trying to get away from those guys, or were they, understanding and, hey man, go do your thing?
They respected me. It wasn't like, well, I never joined, but they knew like if I did, I could have been a great asset.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just like they respected me and they just didn't, F with me or such, you say, know. But other than that, I never got that deep. But everyone knew who I was. And everyone knew who my uncle was. He was like very known in the streets, gangs, the Crips, Bloods, and Browns at the time, and things like that. So I was pretty known in the streets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's not a good thing, but.
Well, it was your environment, and that's where you grew up, and a lot of those guys. It's funny because I grew up in a small town, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not any different than. It's a lot different, but it's also not any different. It's like, some of the people that you befriend as a little kid, you don't know who they're going to become. They don't know who you're going to become.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And as you get older, they start evolving into something that was probably a negative thing, But at the same time, it's like, okay, now here you are, let's say you're 14 years old, and your buddy's doing some stuff he probably shouldn't. But it's like, yeah, but we've been friends for 10 years. It's like it doesn't lump you into the things that he's doing. It's just, man, we grew up together. We went to school together. We went to we were in recess or T-ball or whatever you guys did as kids. Yeah. 20 years later, it's like I've known that guy my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't just turn off those friendships just because sometimes you might have to. But it's not like you go, okay, well, you're a bad guy now, so I can't hang out with you. It's like, no.
You just got to respect for what they do. And I'm sure at the end of the day, they're a good guy or good girl, woman. But it's like, my lifestyle is different now, and I'm still going to love you as a brother in Christ or sister in Christ. But it's like, I'm just making sure the people around me are aligned with what I'm trying to go for.
Yeah.
And if you're with it, you're with it. If not, you get left behind, and that's just how life is, so.
I think there's been times in my life where I kind of see people and I go, like you said, they're not heading the direction I'm going in, and I usually cut them off, right?
Yeah.
And My oldest brother, Eddie, passed away about 3 years ago. I think I told you about that.
Yeah, you did, brother.
And, in learning, after his death, learning more about the type of person he was, Eddie was he was receptive and inclusive of everybody, which I haven't always been. And then in doing this podcast, man, I've met some people, my buddy Bob, Bob was a musician, bad on drugs. And now Bob runs the Narcotics Anonymous down there,
Damn.
And so, to be able to go, hey, Henry, I don't know, let's make up a name. You and I aren't vibing right now, man. And I'm going to have to go do my own thing. But it's also, I think, important to be able to leave a little sliver of the door open to go, hey, man, when you're ready to head in my direction, holler at me.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting you off completely.
Yeah.
But holler at me because I want to be able to help you head in a better direction. But when you're ready, because a lot of times we try and force people to do what we think is best or what we want to do.
Yeah.
And they're not ready for it, man. It's not their Kairos moment, right?
It isn't. They haven't hit it yet,
Yeah.
So.
And everybody, I would imagine everybody hits that at a different time, So a lot of times I'm always late to the game. I'm late to certain certain things in adulthood, and it's like, man, all my friends are there already, and I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's nice to be able to know that even though you're not where you need to be, you're still not left alone.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good feeling to be able to keep doors open with people. You know.
But it's maybe a season where, you know, you're not where you want to be, but it's like, okay, well, maybe you're repeating a cycle, and God's trying to show you a lesson there. You know, so once you come to realization that, wow, okay, maybe I need to get it together, or maybe be more, you know, freaking more time management on my things, and create more better habits, or replace old habits with new ones. And if, you know, if whatever it is you want to be down the road, it's like, okay, well, if I saw my future self, what would he be doing or she be doing, and how would they act as a behavior, and am I doing that now? Like, and you just got to be like transparent in the mirror, like, you know what, no, I'm opposite of that person. Well, what do I need to change? You know, so that's the whole journey, man. Like, you know, we get down on ourselves and things like that, and, you know, we say, why God, or all types of things, you know, but it's like, you know, God's trying to, you know, prepare you so you can live that prosperous, abundant life you always, since a kid, you know, been dreaming of, and you know, do it for the people that are rooting for you. But you can't do it, but you have to, you know, you have to become the person you are throughout the journey to become that person you want to be in whatever, you know, it is you want to aspire to be, you know?
Yeah, I like the way you use seasons. You know, I feel like, how old are you?
I just turned this past December 9th, 28.
28. I'm 45. And it's funny because, like, here at 45, I kind of reflect on my life, and I really do see it as seasons. You know, you see the first 20 years, you see the second 20 years, and then you go, okay, what's the next 20 years? Who do I want to be now?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
And it's okay. You know, your core, you're probably still the same, but the things around you and the things that you keep around you and the things you project can change. You know, you posted something the other day, man, and it floored out, like
It hit
like,
you?
yeah.
Oh.
And hang on real quick, because I'm gonna see if I can pull it up, because I took a screenshot of it, and I'll try not to waste too much time doing this. Jeez,
Nah, you good, brother.
man, I just bought this stupid iPhone. I had Samsung, and I don't know how this thing works, so it takes me forever. That, and I got a lot of stupid pictures, but I screenshotted something.
Nah, you good, bro. Just go to your photo album or something.
Man, I don't know how to do any of that. You know what? Screw it. You said it's something to the effect of, if God doesn't change your situation, He's using the situation
To change you. That's right.
Man, that's heavy, man. That was a good one, man.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but it was like 2 lines, and it was like, man, it's heavy.
It was powerful, man. Yeah.
It didn't have to be a paragraph. It didn't have to cover the whole screen. It was 2 lines, and it was like, man, you don't think about it like that. You know,
Yeah.
oftentimes we go, he's not paying attention to me, you know, or why is God doing this? And it's like, you sit there and you go, well, he's trying to modify you, man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and the only way he can do that is by kind of force feeding it to you sometimes. You know, you sit there, like you said, and you're in the same rut, and you're going in a circle, and you're doing the same things. At some point, you got to get tired of it.
Yeah. You just gotta be tired of being tired, and like, man, just this is enough. And you know, and like, if the next person can do it, why can't you? You know, I like to see, as any successful person, they leave clues. You know, success leaves clues. You know, if you can, you know, of course, don't be like literally like them, but bring your own authenticity and style, and put it your way. You know, and you know, and if it's like you wouldn't take advice from someone that's not trying to do what you're trying to do.
Right.
You know, so it's like, why would you, you know, consider that, you know, in that sense, business, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, we have to leave the old us, and you know, renew our spirits, renew our minds, and you know, watch God work. You know, and you know, when they look at your life, it's like, man, how did you do it, Eddie? Like, how did you do it, Gabe? Like, well, God came through, you know, and He gave me all the tools. Like, He He's not going to give you all the ingredients for the cake. You know, he's going to give you the flour Monday, the sprinkles Tuesday, and then, you know, obviously cook it in the oven, you know, Thursday, and then, you know, Friday you got the whole cake. But it took the process to do it. You know, he's not going to give you everything, you know, because if he did, it's like, well, were you ready for that blessing? And if you weren't, you're just going to juggle it and not know how to appreciate and handle it. And it's like, oh, well, now I'm back to square one. So now you got to get back to square one and unlearn your old habits and then just go from there, you know? So, I mean, the marathon continues, man. It just never ends. The journey's a endless thing. But within that dash, that's where it's like, okay, well, what am I doing in that dash? You know, from the day I was born to the dash till, you know, the day I die, you know, and what are things that are bigger than me that I can leave behind that, you know, wow, when I see this person, I think this and this and this, you know, and you just go from there, you know, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where it's like, and I think we've all experienced it, where we get a blessing where we feel it's too late. You know,
man.
And we look back and we go, well, now this happened for me, you know. But there's so many times where if you really think about it and you really reflect on it, you can go, man, I wasn't ready for this back then.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
whether it's a relationship or a friendship or, you know, whatever. He said, man, if I'd have met that guy in high school, I'd have hated his guts. You know, but now that he's a father or two and he's mellowed out, man, we get along great.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and I think that happens a lot. And you know, it's difficult to appreciate your blessings when they're not on your time. But they're not. It's not your time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not even really your blessing. It's God's blessing.
It is.
You know,
that's it,
so
man.
it's God's time.
Yeah, God's timing is perfect, man. And you know, even not being biased and as the owner of Kairos, but it's like, you know, I'm just gonna do whatever's on has my name on it. It's gonna happen, you know. And I'm not gonna force nothing. Like I told myself for 2022 this year, like I'm not gonna force nothing. If it's not there genuinely, then I'm not gonna force it and try to make it something it's not. And then I get more unfulfilled because, you know, well, you know, like they say, you know, push, you know, no days off or things like that. But it's like sometimes it's like you don't want to push too hard. And then, you know, sure, you're pushing, but it's like, what if you get hurt and then boom, just because you were going a little extra, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a place to know where to play it safe and be realistic and know when to go all in and know that, you know, you're not scared to take any risks, you know, because you can bounce back from that injury, such you say, you know? So
I'm notorious for that, man. Like I what do they say? You know, I need it instantly. You know, if I don't get it now, I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and I'm terrible about that, man.
Yeah.
And my wife's always giving me a hard time about it. But it's kind of like we have to remind ourselves, you know, it's how do I say this without sounding like an idiot? But life's short, right?
Yeah.
But it's a marathon. You know,
Amen. Yeah.
Sometimes you're running a full marathon. Sometimes it's a 5K. You know, your life might be shorter than somebody else's, but it's a marathon, and we need to not necessarily think like that all the time, because like you said, sometimes you got to take advantage of opportunities, but we need to be prepared for the marathon. Same thing with goals, same things with achievements. You know, everybody I know that's been, even my buddy in whose building we're in right now, you know, it's a beautiful building, it's a beautiful office, you know.
It sure is. Yeah.
But he's been doing this, working his ass off for like 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, and it's, a lot of people can go, man, this is beautiful. I want this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, get ready for another 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, because that's where it came from. It was years of grinding it out, running the marathon, doing things, trying not to make mistakes, trying not to overreach yourself, doing things within your ability, and just keep going. Just keep going. You know, and a lot of times we fail to recognize that race. We want it instant. And I'm, like I said, I'm terrible at it, man.
Yeah.
I am the worst. If it doesn't happen today, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I gotta check myself, man, because God's checked me a handful of times, and it's a lot more easy if I check myself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You don't want God to do it, but if
He
has
will.
to, He will.
He
Yeah,
will.
definitely. But I think we all know nothing happens overnight, and and it keeps us, or to me personally, it keeps the fire going. But if you have a plan, for longevity and not short-term gratification, then of course everything you do is gonna pay off. As much as you don't think it will, it'll pay off. But we just gotta, keep our head down, pray, have that prayer life with God, build a relationship with Him, and on His timing, everything will come. And it's with social media, it's a great tool, and it's a great platform to use to showcase your brand and yourself as personal too. But it could be the devil himself putting negative thoughts in your head, trying to compare to other people, because when you think about it, Instagram's only like, you only post the good accomplishments or anything. You don't see it's very rare you see any struggles and things like that, being transparent, but I feel like, when you do that, you're just, putting yourself backwards, and it's, and I'm fault for that too sometimes. And, I'm very strong-minded, but it's like, man, like, I'm getting this in this X age or whatever, but it's like, man, like, when's my season, my turn, my breakthrough coming or something, So it's like, but then it's like, I don't know how they did that, got that, or where they came from, or, obviously if they have help or things like that, so it's like, like, I'm pretty good at my situation, and it's not too bad. It could be worse, so I just go for that and see how I can get 1% better every single day, and like the motto I tell myself, being a better version of yourself every day than yesterday, and learning something, and my uncle told me, he's like, his name was Samson, but we would call him Sambo, and he's like, yeah, man, even after long I die, you're always going to be learning something every day from me, or from somebody, and I'm learning from something from you, Gabe, and anyone that I come across in my life, and I'm like, wow, like it's a beautiful path. And it's like, one day when we look back at these days, we're going to be grateful for those struggles, and it's like, I'm glad I struggled. I'm glad I went through that, because if not, I wouldn't know how to be the person I am today. And if not, I probably would have sunk, sink or swim, so it's like, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna keep going.
That's where that's where our growth happens, in the struggle.
Yes.
You don't learn as much from your victories as you do your losses. Because they hurt more.
And
so you pay more attention to them.
That's right.
You were talking about people saying, when's my season coming? And I'm a failure at this too, in the sense that I often wonder, when's my time? When's my season, right?
Yeah.
And
your Kairos moment, man.
But it's funny, because as I get older, I understand a little more, and I go, you're in it. You're in your season right now. Mm-hmm. It's developing, and this is a part. Again, we talked about the journey, right?
That's right.
And that's where a lot of people associate their success with their moment, and it's like, no, your moment is the journey, and you're in it right now. Learn to recognize it and learn to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that way, when you get to your goal, you can appreciate the entirety of it.
Yeah.
From conception to the struggles, to the ups, to the downs, to finally being on top of the mountain, right? It's all part of the dream. It's all part of the success.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at just the end, and it's like, no, it's everything. Enjoy it all, man. Yeah. Even the bad stuff. I tell my nephews from time to time, enjoy the bad stuff, man. Because it lets you know you're alive. It lets you know that there's things happening, and when the good things happen, you can look back and go, man, I thought the world was going to end.
Yeah, no,
And it didn't.
for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not lying about that, man. But it's, we learn more in those darkest times than we do in the light. But, God puts us in those situations for a reason, and it's like, okay, well, maybe I need to cut this person out. Maybe I need to start doing this more. And, until we get it, he's going to still disciple us and try to keep sharpening us until we finally just had enough and, get on our knees and pray to him or, whatever the case it may be, or cry, and just go from there. And it's like, man, I need to, change my life 360 around and just no looking back, you know, and just go all in, so.
So let's get on this Kairos again. So when did you really say, hey, I'm going to put this on a t-shirt and we're going to run with it? Was that a couple years back?
Yeah, so it came to thought when I went to the church, CBC, back in 2019, and I was like, man, and I was personal training. That's when I first got my personal training certificate at NASM, started training people, things like that. But then I was like, man, this is it. This could be the next big thing,
Yeah.
And obviously, there's other brands that are also Greek and stuff like that. But it's like, if I can bring the word of God into the sports world and then let that just spread domino effect to other people, then hey, God's will, thy will be done,
Yeah.
But in the sense, it's like, that's when I was like, okay, well, personal training is going to be my vessel to get Kairos up and going. And then obviously, I just launched, it's going to be a year this year for Kairos in May 22nd. And that's the day that my uncle, more like my brother, passed away.
Oh, wow.
So, and also had a tia that passed away on the 22nd too.
Oh, man.
So, man, that number's been real significant with me some way or another, man. And I was like, I was trying to launch it before May. And I was like, man, well, if I do, okay, well, this next month's coming up. I was like, I need to make sure I launch it on the 22nd.
Yeah.
And, it was when I brought it to life to the social digital world, it was my birthday gift to him 2 years back. And, I was just hoping, he'd be proud that what I'm doing, how far I came and who I become because of him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have a father figure too, in sense like that. And he was the only male figure in a sense, no matter, even if he was doing bad. But when he was with me, he was that angel, and, showing me how this world is and that it can be cold. But, knowing with me, maybe someone like me can definitely leave a mark or spark someone else's brain to be positive too, and to go after all that they're fighting for, that, and it could be done. It can, but other than that, that's where Kairos kind of gave to life. I was drawing, pictures of logos at that moment. I was like, man, I can't wait till I turn this, into put it out there. And here we are going into a year in, and I met so many great people, since then. And it's just, we're just kind of just scratching the surface. And, and even when it does grow, I feel like it's still going to be scratching the surface, but knowing that it's out there and that, cause, I feel like, with everything going on in this world and politics, things like that, I feel like, I know there's a lot of people that I want to rep a sportswear brand that it's faith-based. Yeah. And but I don't know who, or what city or what name, so I was like, I like we were saying, as a kid, I found that spirituality growing up, so, obviously we're all imperfect, people, and but one of my core values as far as my statement is just to strive for excellence, knowing that we'll never be a perfect in an imperfect world, because by nature we're sinners, but knowing that if we can change that mindset and we strive for excellence and just day by day just being kind or showing a expression of love, no matter how it may be. You know, I think all those little things will add up, and you know, God sees your heart and knows your heart, and he'll bless you, you know, as long as you follow him and his way, and stay obedient to him, you know. Yeah, and it may not happen right now and then, but you know, he's testing you, he's molding you. So that's when you get ready for your Kairos moment, you know. So it could be a moment where you have a revelation and you're like, man, I'm done. I need to leave this girl, or leave this guy, or leave my family out, or cut everyone out and just work on me, you know, and boom, like that. So Kairos is very complex, but it has multiple end results of it, you know. So that's where it came to fruition, you know, as a thought, and it's now a reality. And you know, I wanted, like, what I wanted to do, obviously it's a sportswear brand, so I was like, well, okay, well, I need to meet people regarding that, you know. And I was like, well, I don't know any professional people or anything like that, or athletes, such you say. So I prayed on it, and man, God answered my prayers, man. You know, I met so many professionals as far as in the NFL, you know, a couple collegiate football players, basketball players.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man. So he's been, you know, aligning all the right people for my prayer and what I'm going for, and it's now I have great relationships with all of them, you know. So it's amazing when you just tell yourself, I need to, you know, get with the right people, and knowing that they have the same core values and morals and ethics, you know, I feel like, wow, like it is coming to life, you know. And I'm only just a year in, you know, so it's like, you know, I can't wait to what the future holds for Kairos. And you know,
it's funny because when you talked about your uncle, you know, I get this visualization of a good guy who was in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's funny because when you brought him up and you start talking, you know, I kind of get in my head this vision of you carrying those good parts of him.
Yeah.
And with your success, it's his success.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have influenced you positively, but so is he.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're doing well, even with him physically not being here, he's doing well.
Yeah.
You know, so man, I wish you all the success. I hope that I hope it just keeps going. I hope you just skyrocket, man, because you know there's seems to be, and I don't think what we see on the internet or on the news and stuff is the majority, right? I think it's the minority, but people need to be able to look at those places that they see junk and see positive stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what you're putting out, man.
Yeah.
And that's what Kairos is.
Yes.
And I there needs to be that battle of, hey, yeah, there's plenty of junk to look at, but come look at this too, because this is positive. And at the end of the day, people are going to get tired of seeing that stuff, man.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for something positive. They're going to be looking for something spiritual. They're going to be looking for something that they can hold on to and go, man, I can ride with this because this isn't going to waver, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's I think what people need, and that's what you put out, man. That's what I love about you. I think it's great.
I appreciate it, brother. Nah, thank you, man. Yeah, it comes natural, man. And you know, if you with it, you with it. If you're not, you know, I'm gonna be more positive. You know.
Yeah.
So.
well, you be waiting for him to catch up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, bro.
So
yeah.
are you still physical training or anything like that?
I actually only have one client at the time.
Okay.
But it's like now that we hit into a new year, I just told myself, man, I was like, I'm just gonna go all in on Kairos, and you know, and put all my energy into that, and you know, and I'm not gonna look back, man. You know, definitely, you know, I can't wait till, you know, our first drop for the 2022 year, you know. But like I said, I'm in a season right now, and it's like, man, I just can't wait to get out of it so I can go harder this time, you know, with the branding, marketing, you know, meet more people, you know, that relate to the movement, you know, and you know, and show people that, you know, having faith is a cool thing too. You know, it's not
Yeah.
like, you know, all religious and, you know, Hillsong music and, you know, like, you know, there's artists out there that come from not so good backgrounds or areas, and how God moved them, you know, and it's like, you know, it's you know, God works in mysterious ways. He knows how to get you, you know, and I feel that, you know, fitness is one thing that saved my life, and I feel that if it can save me and how I hold myself, then I know that, you know, the other people that may come from my environments or not having it very easy right now for the time being, that they can stay strong-minded too, and they have something to look towards, like Kairos, that, you know, well, wow, if I go play some ball, you know, maybe this can be an opportunity for a scout to look at me, or you know, maybe this can help me stay out of trouble, and then I can turn this into I don't know, into a league, and that league goes from, you know, things like that to get ready for that moment, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, there's plenty blessings out there for everyone.
Absolutely.
You know, and I feel like if, you know, you stay the course, you know, blinders down, you know, and keep laying those bricks, you know, eventually you're gonna build a brick wall, man. And it's like, wow, you know, like I did that, you know, but God came through, and, you know, I got to give him all the glory, man, because, you know, if not, I wouldn't be where I am today, you know. So I'm excited for Kairos this year, and, you know, definitely, you know, let's see what's to come, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're a good dude, Eddie Vera. Where can people find Kairos, find you? What are the websites and social media?
So social, yeah, definitely, brother. So social media for Kairos is Kairos itself. It's with the K. So Kairos, Kairos movement. The movement is abbreviations of movement, Mvmt. And then on the website, you can find it on www.thekairosmovement.com. And, you know, definitely we're low on everything, but it's a good thing because people are feeling the brand. And, you know, I can't wait to put more out content and more apparel for everyone, you know. So those are the links. You know, everyone's more than welcome to check it out. And, you know, where God's timing here at Kairos is perfect, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate your time, Eddie. I appreciate your information, and man, I appreciate your positive spirit, man. Keep it up, and look forward to see what you got going on in the future, brother.
Thanks, brother. You too, my man. Yeah, let's get it this year. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Eddie. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.